All right, we need to talk about the K-drama The Art of Sarah, because that ending, wow. Today, we're going to break down that brilliant, totally mind-bending finale, and trust me, it is not what you think it is. So let's get right into it. So the whole show, right, it's all building up to this huge criminal investigation. You think you know where it's going, but then that final act just completely pulls the rug out from under you. It's not your typical who-did-it mystery, not at all. It's actually asking something way deeper, something that challenges the very idea of justice. And this line right here from Cinephilia, this is the key to the whole thing. The ending isn't really a race to find a killer. It's a high-stakes psychological chess match, and the goal, it's not to prove who's guilty. It's to prove a much simpler but way more complicated fact. Who is the person actually sitting in that interrogation room?
So yeah, let's dive right into that interrogation room, because this is where our protagonist, Sarah Kim, or is it Sarah Kim, drops a bombshell confession. But it's not what it seems. It's actually this brilliant strategy designed to completely break the system.
So she just walks in, sits down, cool as a cucumber, and says, "I'm Kim Mugion." Just like that. She confesses that she impersonated the famous luxury brand owner Sarah Kim, murdered her, and then just took over her life. Now, this isn't our breaking down and admitting guilt. No way. This is the opening move in her final, most incredible con.
And this is where you see just how brilliant she is. She's created a situation where she literally can't lose, no matter what the justice system decides. Think about it. If they convict her as Kim Mugion, okay, she goes to prison, but guess what? The whole fraud case against her brand, Budoir, just evaporates. Her legacy is safe. But if they can't prove she isn't Sarah Kim, well, she just walks free. She's turned her own identity into the ultimate weapon.
So how in the world did she get to this point? To really get it, we have to go back. Let's look at the identities she built up and then tossed aside on her way to the top. Because before she became the infamous Sarah Kim, she was a whole lot of other people. Okay, so her whole journey is just this masterclass in reinvention. It starts back in 2018. She's Gai-hui, this sincere, hardworking employee who just gets totally crushed by debt. So what does she do? She becomes Unja, a super calculating hostess who cons the very same loan shark that held Gai-hui's debt. I mean, the irony. And from there, she reinvents herself one last time as Sarah Kim, the mogul who creates this exclusive European luxury brand, Budoir, completely out of thin air. You see, each identity is just a stepping stone, another mask she puts on to climb a little bit higher. And this is the real twist. The person who brings Sarah's perfect world crashing down, it's not a detective, it's not some business rival. It's the one person who is almost her exact double. So, let's meet Kim Mugion. She was the actual artist, the genius behind Budoir's perfect counterfeit bags. The thing is, she saw Sarah's fake-it-till-you-make-it philosophy and thought, hey, I can do that too. She learned from the master and decided she wasn't just going to copy the bags, she was going to copy the woman. She gets a matching ankle tattoo, the exact same dress. She was staging the perfect identity theft. Mugion wasn't just her partner in crime. She was a student who learned the lesson a little too well. As Detective Mugion starts digging into what happened that night, he figures out that the fight was really just the beginning. The real crime, the thing that should have sealed Sarah's fate, happened way later.
Yeah, the big confrontation at the launch party, it was a relentless mutual struggle. This was not a one-sided attack. The autopsy reports actually prove that Kim Mugion came to that party armed and ready for a fight. This was a brutal, all-out brawl between two women literally fighting for the right to exist as the same person.
But the key to the whole crime wasn't the stabbing itself, no. And this is the detail that takes it from just a terrible fight to something much, much darker. It's the one thing Detective Mulligan latches onto. And that's exactly what happened. Sarah knew Mugion was still alive. She knew she was down there, crawling through a sewer, desperate to survive. And Sarah made a cold, conscious choice. She left her there to die. That is what turns this into a calculated murder. Okay, so you have an unsettling victory. You're winning the battle, but what about the war? Just when Detective Mugion thinks he's got her, he has the evidence, the case is closed, everything starts to fall apart. The whole case just fractures, and the system finds itself in this totally impossible position where it just has to make a choice. Because suddenly, the crucial evidence just vanishes. Poof, gone.
The hospital tissue sample from her kidney donation, the donation records themselves, all the stuff that could give them definitive DNA proof of who she is, it's gone. And without that hard, scientific proof, the state literally has no way to prove who is sitting in that interrogation room. And what happens next is just bizarre. It perfectly illustrates the fallout. The system needs to close the case, so it just picks a narrative. Sarah Kim is now legally dead, buried as a Jane Doe. The woman in prison? She's sentenced as Kim Mi-jon for killing Sarah Kim. Meanwhile, the brand Budoir survives under new ownership. And Detective Mugion? He gets a nice public pat on the back and is quietly reassigned. The case is closed, right? But the actual truth is just floating out there, totally unresolved. So who decides who you are? This is the art of performing an identity. And this is where it all leads. It brings us to this show's really unsettling final point, a massive question about what truth and identity even mean. I mean, just look at this quote. Truth doesn't matter as much as what can be proven and what can be remembered. Sarah got it. She understood that perception is reality, that in a world built on paperwork and records and what people remember, the official story, well, that's way more powerful than what actually happened. And she used that idea as a weapon to write her own ending.
And that leads us to the final scene in the prison. Detective Mugion visits her, and he asks the one simple question that's left. Who are you? And what's her answer? Nothing. Just silence. Because that silence is the answer. Is she Gahui? Is she Unji? Is she Sarah Kim? Yes, she's all of them, and at the same time, she's none of them. She's everybody and nobody.
So the show leaves us with this really haunting question to chew on. If a person can confess as one name and then take it all back as another, who actually decides who you are? If our identities can be performed, manipulated, even stolen, and if the system itself can be backed into a corner where it just has to pick a name to close a file, then who gets the final say? Maybe, just maybe, identity is the most dangerous art of all.